Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, a very warm welcome to Silver Tent TV. I'm your host, Siobhan A Riordan, along with Elsa, my dog, who can occasionally join in, just if we're ready for a bark, and we just go with it. The Silver Tent is a global online community and increasingly offline community of women over 50 from all over the world who have gathered here to receive support, to receive encouragement in pursuing those dreams that have yet to be realised as we move into the autumn and winter of our lives. It's also a place that's a platform for sharing the incredible wisdom that women over 50 have developed over the years. And we are honoured today to have the founder of the Silver Tent with us, Francesca Cassini. A very warm welcome to you, Franny.
Hello, Siobhan. I love your introduction.
Say that again?
I love your introduction.
Well, I love the Silver Tent. So today we're here to talk about an incredible kind of first 6 months to 2020, really, isn't it? It's a chance for Francesca to run a couple of her courses, her kind of key courses. And this is the first one happening at the very beginning of January, 1st or 2nd of January, is the at-home 7-day retreat into our wild, wise, wonderful selves and how to pursue that part of ourselves. Franny, it sounds like a great way to start 2020. How's this course going to help women who want to sign up?
Oh, Siobhan, I am bubbling over with excitement about this because, you know, as you know, and many people know, I've been running the 6-week online course, Claiming Your Wild, Wonderful and Wise Elder Self, for about 1.5 years now in the Silver Tent. And I really feel like it's dropped into that really founded place. You know, it's grown its roots, and I love what's happening for many of the women who follow it. And it was just a moment of epiphany when I thought, I wonder what would happen if I put it all together. Like, can I invite people down to Wales, or should I do a retreat somewhere warm overseas? And then I thought, if I make it available to people in their own home, where they take 7 days off to be in their own home, and run it online, but like sending something out first thing in the morning and then having a live call in the afternoon. So there's that sense of continuity. I just thought we can do so much with that. So the whole concept of the Silver Tent, as you know, is to remind those of us who have forgotten or maybe feel they never knew, that once they are over that 50-year mark, or 60 or 70 or 80, they are wild, wonderful and wise elder women, valid and valuable, with wisdom worth sharing. I'm so passionate about this. I believe absolutely that we are a vast, untapped reservoir of wisdom that's necessary in our world today. And so this course, or this at-home retreat, will allow everybody, first of all, to have a beautiful week off in their own home, exploring this course in their own time frame. So it's gentle in a way, but it's also really deep. I take them on a series of intuitive journeys into their own wisdom. This is really allowing each person to realize that they never need take on somebody else's wisdom and expertise, that they have their own well, and I just guide them to access that wonderful pool of wisdom that they have amassed over their 50 plus years, but also potentially through their DNA from their ancestors. And
so let's just recap, because it sounds incredible. I'm picturing lots of women in their slippers, you know, after Christmas, putting their feet up and beginning a kind of quite intense way to start the year. So what's the goal here? If I wanted to invest in this 7-day retreat, what am I looking to achieve?
The goal is really to recognize you are wild, wonderful, and wise. To see and experience in yourself that who you've become throughout your life and who you are becoming as you take this next stage. So it's like an unfolding of the truth of you, realizing and learning that you have wisdom, that there's something awesomely unique about you that is valuable. And then out of that, to find out what it is that you would truly love to do and be in this next stage of your life, with the tools and understanding of how to bring that to fruition.
It sounds wonderful, and for many women that are on the verge, so to speak, it's a great way to tip over and to actually get on and just do it. And a great way for women that haven't yet fully appreciated the wisdom. Tell me, where does the wild come in?
Oh, I guess for me, it's that sense of being at one with one's true nature. So it doesn't mean that you have to go and dance naked on tabletops, at cafes by the seaside.
Oh,
But you can. I know. But if that's true for you, then it would that would come out. So it's really, yes, that's what I mean by being wild, is really aligned and connected to your true nature, being your natural self.
Wonderful, thank you. So we've got this kind of 7-day retreat, and then there's going to be for the rest of the month, isn't it? There's a holding space where people can remain accountable for what they have chosen to pursue, and to have support, that kind of peer support.
Well, the idea, what you come out of that course with, is something like 8 ideas of what you'd love to experience in your life next. That could be a new home, it could be a book, it could be a relationship, it could be all of those and more. It could be traveling. You'll really find out what it is that the true you would like to focus on experiencing. And so we set up a private Facebook group where you can buddy up, ask me questions, we can have interactions that really help you focus on those things and start bringing them into reality. Because initially they might feel untouchable, they might feel unreal, but the more you focus your creative and intuitive and imaginative energy on them, the more they become real. And that's what we want. We want it to come out of your imagination and out of your heart into this solid, tangible reality.
It sounds fantastic, and but it's not just that you're offering next year. There's kind of another course beginning in February. Tell us a bit about that one.
Well, part of the idea that the next level of the Silver Tent Foundation, so part of it is recognizing that you're wild, wonderful, and wise, valid, valuable, with wisdom worth sharing. Now that's great, but what do you do when you actually go, wow, I have wisdom worth sharing? So for those who participate in that first course and realize that they would love to write a book, I'm running my 5-day Writing with Your Muse intensive course, also online, a little bit like an at-home retreat, but it just takes up 1 to 2 hours per day plus your writing. So the idea is that you start to use a similar intuitive journeys that we did in the first course, but to access this extremely high level of your own creativity, so that you start to really discover what is your authentic message that you would love to share with the world. And then we create the structure of your book over that 5-day intensive.
But it's not just a 5-day intensive, is it?
No, I'm not quite sure what gave me this idea, but I realized how easy it is to learn something on a course, and then not do anything with it. So I thought, wow, okay, so if I create a space for the next 6 months, so we've done 5 days, the first 5 days of 6 months, if we then have 6 months in a private Facebook group where you can buddy up, you can start tuning more deeply into your book, and also committing to writing at least 500 words per day, then over the course of that 6 months, you'll have over 9,000 words of your book written in a space where you're being held accountable. Nobody's going to critique your work. You don't have to share it if you don't want to, but the energy will be of real support and guidance and love, like a real crucible, and we'll have live participatory calls once a week where you can ask questions or share what's coming through. And so the idea is that by the end of that 6 months, you have pretty much a book-sized manuscript complete. You might need to write more. It might not be a 90,000 word book. It might be a 200,000 word book, but 90,000 is a good size for a first book.
Wow. And there's something also kind of that you're throwing in for the end of that course, isn't there, to do with manuscript assessors and editors. Tell us a bit about that.
When I wrote my first book, or I was halfway through my first book, I had never even heard of a manuscript assessor. And then I heard about a manuscript assessor, and I learned that what they do is they read your book and they know if that is publishable, if it's got potential. And so I had my manuscript assessed, and I got so much feedback all about the characters in there, the flow of the story, whether the characters were had strength, whether they were believable, how the story flowed, whether I should look at changing the timeline a little bit. And I got such phenomenal advice, but I knew when I read that that I did have something. I believed that I did anyway, but it's like a wonderful sense of, yes, I've done my job. I've brought this message through and it's in reasonable shape and I can take it on further. So we're going to introduce those with the manuscript to a manuscript assessor, and we'll have different editors available. And also we'll be looking at whether they can submit their manuscript, depending on the criteria, to Silver Tent Publishing, or whether they would fit the criteria for doing a self-publishing journey. That will also be available to them. So we can take them right through that whole amazing journey of creating a book. And it can be a novel, it can be a factual book. It's whatever comes through, whatever is needed, which they'll find out intuitively to support getting their authentic message out in the world in the best possible way.
I think it's a fantastic package, and so much so I've signed up myself. I really like the idea of that accountability and that goal of setting 500 words a day. That feels really motivating, and if ever there's a chance of getting something written, this is a fantastic opportunity. So I think we've explored two. Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that 500 words, if you've never written words and counted them, 500 is not much. 500, it really isn't much. It's a very small amount to be committed to per day. It might be, with the help of your muse, might only be half an hour, might be less. So it's a very doable amount. It's not like when you do NaNoWriMo, which is the National Novel Writing Month, which is done through the month of November, you commit to 50,000 words in a month. So that's 1,300 or so words a day. That can be a massive challenge to keep to that, but 500 is doable.
Brilliant. Yeah, so it's manageable as well. So there's some fantastic opportunities happening in the tent in 2020. It can begin with you discovering, embracing, integrating your wise, wild, wonderful self. And it can go on to produce something that can be assessed at the end, and possibly even edited, and possibly even submitted for publication as well.
And there's one more thing that we didn't talk about, is that the Claiming Your Wild, Wonderful and Wise at Home retreat and the intensive are run live, but there's the option to have it as a recording only. So there are a number of different options to make it available to as many people who are interested as possible, but only within the Silver Tent. It's exclusive currently to the Silver Tent.
Okay, great. So if we want to follow through on that, we get in touch with you, Franny, and you'll be able to give us all the details and what it requires.
Yes, it will be up in the events section of the Silver Tent, and very welcome to contact me through Facebook, through a personal message.
Wonderful. It's been lovely chatting with you again. I have done the Wise, Wild, Wonderful Self, and I really recommend it, especially if you're a little unsure about where your wisdom lies. I think it's a fantastic journey. And really looking forward to spending 6 months with you, writing 500 words a day. And maybe that novel that's been in my heart for so long might finally find a way of being birthed.
I would feel so privileged to be on that journey, because if it's the novel that you've been talking about before, that is such an awesome story. And I can't wait to see that just really emerge into its rightful form, It'd be beautiful.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for making the time to come and talk with us, Francesca. Wherever you are in the world, if the sun isn't shining in your skies, may it shine in your heart. This is Siobhan A Riordan and Elsa signing out. Aho.